At Focus St. Louis, we believe that everyone possesses the power to be a leader. And for years, we've been inspiring leaders to think differently, to seek out new perspectives, and to take action. And now we're sitting down with some of those leaders to explore their unique journeys. We'll talk to the leaders who are driving change and making a difference both inside and outside of their organization. Welcome to the Focus St. Louis Leadership Podcast. Hi, I am Yemi Akande Barch, President and CEO of Focus St. Louis, and we are getting ready in a few minutes and seconds to continue our series of leadership interviews on the Focus podcast. And I'm delighted today to be interviewing a woman that I consider a star alumni. And I don't know if you will remember this, but when you first reached out to me, we were actually supposed to meet at the Missouri Athletic Club that we are now recording our podcast at. We got our signals mixed up and ended up at Colleen's Cookies.
Yes, we did.
And anything sugar gets me there. And it's been quite the journey since you and I first met. And as we talked about who would we interview on our podcast series, your name certainly came up. And I was delighted when you said yes. So who am I talking about that you're all curious about? It is none other than Jennifer Bardot. She's the founder, owner, author, publisher of the Grit Collection Company. And she's going to talk about the amazing things that she's doing, what's going to come in years ahead. So no pressure, years ahead. But we get an opportunity to talk to her today to learn about her leadership journey in terms of where it all started and how you got to now. That is such a global, long question, but let's dive into it. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. And as I reflect back, I was such a different person. This was before COVID. This was three careers ago. It was just an incredible journey when I think back when we first met and you planted that seed about considering participating in the Focus program.
Yes.
And seeing myself as a leader.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember that you had this effervescent energy. And it was energy that I felt it's going places. And you could use the civic awareness to learn about the issues in our community, but you could also use the incredible network of 11,000 plus individuals in the Focus Network to go and be the spirited Jen that we all have come to know today. So what does leadership mean to you?
For me, it meant being able to be that change maker and believe in yourself. Because when you first approached me about participating in Women in Leadership, I didn't even see myself as a leader. I knew what I was passionate about, but I didn't feel as though I deserved a place in that room with these incredible women that I was a part of. So I think being a leader is truly believing in yourself and knowing who you are and understanding what you're passionate about and going out and doing it and, maybe causing a few waves.
That's always good. You mentioned the fact that there's been an evolution in your career. And what was that pivotal moment?
It was actually the Women in Leadership program, and I attribute so much of that to you and Joni, who was my facilitator. I had gone through this Women in Leadership program, and it was the first time I had had access to female leaders in our St. Louis community. And I remember I was brought to tears because I come from a family in construction that's been in the business for over 90 years, and we've touched pretty much every building downtown. And to see a woman succeeding in such a male-dominated world, it brought me to tears because it was truly inspiring. And by watching her and hearing her stories, I could slowly see myself doing big things and stepping in and owning my leadership journey. So it was the Women in Leadership program. And then finally, at the very end of that program, developing relationships with the other cohort members and going through my capstone program to be able to reflect on my personal journey and seeing all the struggles that I had overcame and taken myself to that place that I was at that moment just propelled me to that whole nother level. And that's truly then when I stepped into publishing and authoring the Owning Your Grit series. So I commend Focus St. Louis and a lot of my development and my growth because it taught me to believe in myself and to see the strength that I truly had.
Wow, that is truly inspiring. And I feel like perhaps we are going to see you on a worldwide stage. I know there's an event coming up in St. Charles in a couple of weeks now, or is it imminent?
Yeah, I'm hosting my first ever gala, and it's
Yay.
going to be such a powerful event because in this series I've published 4 books, but at that point, because it's going to be on November the 3rd, I'll have published my 5th book.
Wow,
And
congratulations.
thank you. And I think it's just incredible because I've been able to curate the stories of over 207 women on that journey. And 15 of those women that have participated in these anthologies will get up on stage and share their truth. And it's just going to be such a powerful event because the whole purpose of what I do is to help those that don't have a voice yet see themselves in these stories and in these other women to then find their voice and come out of those hardships and create hope.
Wow, that is magical and nothing short of inspiring. So walk me through the series. You have Grit, Tenacity. I feel like I'm missing
Yeah,
that.
so I have Owning Your Grit, and that came right after I finished my Women in Leadership program. And then I entered your Leadership St. Louis program, and I challenged myself to truly help people understand what grit means. And I've defined grit as growth, resilience, intention, and tenacity. So on the 1-year anniversary of Owning Your Grit, I dove in head first and started publishing the Deconstructing Grit collection, rolling out every one of those books in every 5 months of a sequency. So growth launched, then there was resilience, and then tenacity, and then it was growth, resilience, intention, and then tenacity is going to be on November the 1st.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
So what are you thinking aspirationally?
Oh my goodness.
Past the Grit series, what's next?
Yes. So now that I have this incredible, all of these lessons and stories that are published and they're all international bestsellers, I'm turning that content into programming, and I want to have it accessible to girls between 9th and 12th grade so we can truly make an impact before they have to go through those hardships and understand what grit means. But I'm also highlighting all of the women that have participated in these anthologies through different opportunities to showcase them either on my talk show or evolving their stories into Audible or giving them opportunities to do a workshop or facilitate a thought leadership panel. So I'm being very intentional about highlighting the incredible women that have participated on this journey of being a grit author
Right.
and sharing it with the world. So
That's amazing. Tell me about the talk show.
yeah, so it's an incredible opportunity to really get to know the authors on a more intimate level because you can read their stories, but it becomes 3-dimensional when you can actually put a voice and a tone and a person's face to their story, and it just comes alive. And then you get to learn more about who they are after you've read their story. So I've been doing that now. I think I've interviewed 26 authors, so I just kicked this off this August, and it's just been a lot of fun because you get to learn more about these incredible women and these change makers in our community. And I love being able to shine that mirror on them and spotlight and reflect on all of the awesomeness that they've brought into our community. So
We have incredible leaders, incredible women leaders in our community, and the Grit series has certainly shined a light on a lot of these women, telling their deeply personal stories in ways that can inspire, in ways that is change-making for others, and in ways that it's just not personally motivating for them, but it's personally motivating for a lot of individuals in our community. So I highly commend you for that. So out of the series, can you share with us, and I know with permission, it's public, one story that just took your breath away?
oh my gosh, there's so many. And I think there's one that I think is really powerful because when you think about St. Louis and health, there was a contributing author. She was the reason why none of our restaurants have smoking in them. And she was literally that change maker that stood up, advocated, knew what was best for our community, and changed laws and changed policies. And I don't even know if she knew how incredible that was, because sometimes when you're just doing, you forget how much hard work it took to get to that place. And that just took my breath away, because here's this woman who, you know, has made an impact on so many people's lives and our children's lives. And, you know, why isn't her name plastered over all of the walls of St. Louis? Thank you for no longer having smoking in our restaurants. But, I mean, that was a story that really touched me because she's incredibly humble. And I didn't even know that about her until she decided to share that story in the anthology. I hadn't seen her in that light. I had seen her as a coach, a chair, a mentor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have these pockets of community where they don't necessarily think it's something that people need to know about them,
Right.
but it can be incredibly change making for the community to know that we have those individuals right here in our region that are doing great work.
Yes, and I think another thing that I just love about this is I think there's this perception of leadership that you've just arrived and you've never gone through any struggles, and that is certainly not the case. And I love the fact that these women have chosen to be vulnerable to show those that have different upbringings or different backgrounds that it's possible, but you need to believe in yourself and you need to find your tribe. Because one of the quotes I always live by is, you're not strong all the time, but you got to lean on others to support you when you're not feeling strong. So
Absolutely.
I just think it's humanized hardship, and it's inspired so many to go out and become the best them.
I'm just blown away every time I get an email from someone who you've asked to be a contributing writer. They just said, this is amazing. The power of the women right here is something that we can shine a light on and take it on the road. And so I'm curious, are there plans for a national tour coming near you to a city? Yes.
Well, as of August the 2nd, I jumped 100% in with Grit because this has been a passion project of mine. So I definitely would love to talk to these people and figure out something, because I think we need to make a global impact. I think we really need to amplify these voices of these women and these incredible leaders and share that outside of the St. Louis community. There's been a tremendous interest already, seeing that they're all international bestsellers. So not only would I love to take that nationally, but I would love to take that internationally, and securing those titles of that achievement, being an international bestseller, is really, it's impactful because those books are then accessible in those different languages. And I want to inspire women all over the world to own who they are, and every time we share our story, we heal. So hopefully they'll begin to heal, to step in and become who they're supposed to be.
I like that. Every time we share our story, you heal.
Yeah.
There is power in sharing as opposed to just keeping it to yourself because it becomes bottled up. Wow.
And I learned that through Focus St. Louis, going through my capstone. It was the first time I'd actually had to record myself and share my story and be raw and see all of the things that I'd kind of either wanted to stay hidden in a corner or I hadn't really shined that light and seen how far I've come.
That's what makes us human. And I certainly applaud you on wanting to take this global, because I believe it is possible. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking there might even be a cruise tour
There we go.
of women. Sign me up for that. I will definitely be on board for that. And I'd also be interested in learning more about what the globalness of, I think what you're doing in St. Charles in a couple of weeks is, or in a couple of days here, is the Gen Talks, kind of like TED Talk,
Yay.
but the Gen Talk. And that is incredible. So I know you are a mom to 3 wonderful, active boys.
Yes.
How do you integrate being a mom and taking on this global venture?
So obviously, I have to be really rooted in my 3 pillars, and my family always comes first. And I love the fact that I have 3 boys because they are literally my everything. Now do they push my buttons and challenge me? 100%. But they also give me energy and new perspective, and they keep life light, and I just love their curiosity. Now, in regards to the global tour, I would definitely be intentional about when I plan these opportunities to get outside of St. Louis. So it'll be like over their spring break or over
Right.
the summer break. And that's essentially why I wanted to jump into owning my Grit and be a full-time business owner, so I could customize my schedule, but it's very much tailored on their schedule. So they come first. I call it sacred time. Every day I pick them up from school and I drop them off at school, and I love that time together, because when I was a child, I didn't have that choice to be with my parents. My dad was already off to work, as was my mom, and I was a bus kid,
Right.
and I didn't even have the opportunity to have them pick me up after my after-school programming. So I feel like that is a privilege, and I will never take it for granted that I was gifted 3 amazing boys, and they always come first.
I see their photos on social media all the time. So, what advice would you have to a budding entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh. Well, I love entrepreneurialism. I remember taking my first disc and I'm like 99% entrepreneur. So I would say first figure out your passion. And then that is how you're going to get through those really challenging hardships.
Right.
But figure out what gets you up every day and go for it. And you're going to go through challenging times and there's going to be obstacles, but figure out how you can deviate and get over those obstacles to pursue what drives you every day. Mm-hmm. So I'm all about entrepreneurialism because I think it gives you an opportunity to really showcase your hidden gifts and talents.
Absolutely. It gives you an opportunity to soar.
Yes.
I would say. So my final question to you is related to our region. And if you could wave a magic wand, what would you say are aspirational goals that you have for our region?
To bring everybody together. That is essentially why I started Grit Community, because I think there's so much power in diverse thought from industry, from title, from zip code. Just having an inclusive community where you can bring everybody together and hear the things that are going on in their spheres to find solutions, to find opportunities, to find innovation. That has been my goal from the get-go with why I started this online women's group and bringing women together from different backgrounds, titles, and industries. And I think there's so much power in those dynamics because I can just think of like an engineer, right? So an engineer thinks this way, but then you bring in a creative. Oh my gosh, there's so much innovation that happens when you bring diverse thought and diverse backgrounds because we don't know what we don't know. So we have to have those conversations.
And that is, no truer words were said in terms of that. I'm sure everyone's looking to make a beeline to St. Louis now. We have the space. Come and join us. I want to take this time to thank Jennifer Bardot of Focus St. Louis, a two-time alum from our Women in Leadership program, as well as our Leadership St. Louis program. She is founder, owner, author, publisher, and I want to say global leader of not just women, but for girls as well. And thank you for being on the Focus podcast. I've learned quite a number of things in terms of your spirit of just diving in and telling your authentic story because it allows you to heal.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I feel like this is such a gift and privilege to be with you today, and it's such an opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you. You are welcome.